everybody, and welcome back to Reading Crossbow. We are here with two more new books for you this month, and I'm excited because this is our, what is it? I wrote it down, our 7th and 8th book picks, Rob. We've made it.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what you have for me this month. I have something very, very different.
Yeah, me too. So that's what's kind of fun this month. Both Rob and I just we keep talking about this. When we first started, I'm like, I honed into romantasy, and you're like, I'm going to do some grimdark. And then, we both kind of went this way and then back in. And then now to this time, we're both like, it's just, I don't know how we got here, but I guess we'll bring it up. But yeah, so this month I have picked The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. And what do you have for me this month?
I have here Starter Villain by John Scalzi. I don't have it in person yet. In fact, that's something I might want to talk about as we go.
Yeah. Well, I don't have it either. We tell each other our books ahead of time, and we pre-order them. Actually, we were nervous we weren't going to get this one on time, and that we would be a little bit late to start this because this just arrived today. This was pre-order. So I'll go into mine first. I am going to try to pre-order a certain amount of books each year and try to time them so that they feel new to you all. And I'm also going to mix some things in and throw in some older books this year. So kind of a nice balance. But I found this book by actually trying to kind of target that, like which books are coming up, which fantasies are going to be new releases, because I thought our audience at home might want something new. So I found this, and then I thought, okay, definitely has to have magic. Definitely has to have a map. Does not have a map. And so should be fantasy, should be magic system. It'd be nice if there was like a love story in it, because I love that. And this really only has two of those things: magic, fantasy. So what really caught my eye on this book is that it says a Holmes and Watson style detective duo take the stage in this fantasy with a mystery twist. So, interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about that. I've read a couple fantasy Sherlock Holmes type books before. There was this Call of Cthulhu Sherlock Holmes series by James Lovegrove that I actually really loved. It was just a ton of fun. So I'm curious what this sounds like. It's just Sherlock Holmes inspired rather than that was actually Sherlock Holmes.
Yes. So, murder mystery. Well, first of all, that book sounds badass. So, Cthulhu, Sherlock Holmes, okay. Whenever I'm in need of another good airplane book, I think I might hit you up for that one again. Actually, I could just rewatch my video, check that out. But so here's another funky thing. So it just starts off on the back of the book by saying a body's found. It always happens in these kind of murder mysteries, right? So I get a bit of Agatha Christie feel, oh no, body's found. But it has a tree growing out of it. So I'm like, oh, weird. I get a little nervous. This pushes me into weird fantasies. I don't know. And the person that they help to bring on to solve the mystery, she uses maybe psychic powers or this kind of mystifying other sixth sense type of thing. That's always been a bit intriguing to me, but I'm also I don't know. But and she does everything blindfolded.
Okay.
And in her home.
That's
yeah.
That's getting weird.
It's weird. I picked out a really weird book this month, and I don't know. Trees growing out of people, Holmes and Watson style, but it definitely says fantasy.
Okay.
So, scandalizing and perplexing. All right, then.
That sounds like an interesting pick. So, I guess the last couple rounds especially me, I keep picking these time travel books unintentionally. So, is there something about this book that might turn you off if you were to encounter it?
Oh, shoot. Well, I think the first big thing is that it's not too long. I can already tell that, when we compare this next to, the Claire that we just read. And I don't have your book up here that we read last month, but it is small. This is a nice short read, so I don't think we're going to go into that. I think we are just under 400 pages, around 400, which is not a small read, but, it's not intense like the other ones. But To be honest, I'm a little nervous about the whole tree growing out of a body thing. I get a little cordyceps, like The Last of Us. If this goes into zombies, I'm gonna be so mad. Like kind of like I have a thing about time travel in books. I don't like when plot just turns to, oh, we'll solve this because it's zombie.
Does that happen a lot in books you read?
No, but it happens in TV shows.
Okay,
you know?
That's fair.
And I don't love that. No zombies, please.
All right.
Oh, another thing. I forgot to mention this. The author is my age. I'm turning 40 this year. The author's 40. Has written 8 books. Has won numerous awards and won the Edgar Allan Poe Award. So that is that's actually interesting. Like, this person's done way more in their life than I have. And so I'm super excited to read what that young of an author does, who's done that well in awards already. So
awesome. Okay.
Oh, wait. One more thing. It's going to be your turn. I promise. Sorry.
All right.
I forgot that I sent you a text earlier and we were going to talk about this book. So I'll pull this up on the screen, but Rob and I have the text. The author, I checked out his Twitter, and he shared 4 images that inspired the Tainted Cup. And these are wacky. We have them up so you all can see, but I get a little bit, I don't, you know what? I'm going to withhold how I feel because I already felt how I felt earlier, and you've had this for less time than me. What do you think when you see these?
You said Edgar Allan Poe and award, and that kind of seems to fit because, I don't know, these are kind of bleak. I'm a fan of, obviously, grimdark, and I like grimdark type art like Geiger, Blanche, or Brom, who put out very dark art. And if one of my friends said, "Oh, I'm inspired by this art by Brom or Geiger," I'd be like, "Hey, I know why we're friends." That makes sense. But if a friend of mine said, "I'm inspired by these," I might want to call an emergency line, and because these are not these are very bleak images. I'm curious if maybe someone could do a wellness check or something, because these are dark.
Oh no! The author has a family, 2 kids at home. I'm sure he's fine, but yeah, I feel that. And the faceless people one is really creepy. The
last one is from Dune, and I appreciate that. Yeah. So that's from the new Dune movie. So I appreciate that one, but I'm curious if that's the inspiration for this book. This is going to be a dark book.
I have to confess, I fell asleep during Dune. Even Zendaya could not pull me out of that movie. That's the new Dune.
That's a shame.
I'm sorry. I really tried. It was so slow. That's okay. Anyway, we don't have to get caught up on that. I'm sure the author's fine, but your concerns are noted. We'll tweet at him and see if he retweets it. Maybe see if he's okay. We've had some success with some of these authors retweeting our tweets, which is amazing. So we'll keep doing that. But it's time to hear about your book.
Okay, so my book, Starter Villain by John Scalzi. This is actually recommended to me by a friend of mine. We both have, while he's not as much into the grimdark type of stories, he's a lot more into the geeky, fun stories. Things like Ready Player One. Anything by Andy Weir, that kind of stuff. Stuff with smart protagonists, and kind of curious, geeky stories. And so, the Bobiverse books. Him and I are also big fans of that series. So he's the one who suggested this book to me. He said I would really enjoy it, and I'm actually really excited to read it until I saw who the Audible narrator is.
Oh no. Who?
It's Will Wheaton.
Oh my god, I love that. I'm so excited.
And the thing is, I've read several or listened to several Audible books with Will Wheaton, and I'm not going to say every book he's ever chosen has been great, but all the ones I've listened to have been perfectly read by him. Like he's the right voice for those stories. Like there was even like this steampunk story that he did by Sherry Priest that he was a great narrator for. I mean, there's some other great readers out there. I'm a really big fan of like John Lee or Kate Redding and her husband. Kate Redding is great. She's probably one of my favorite readers because I have a long commute to work, and so I often have a book just playing in the background while I'm commuting. But for the show, I want to read this book in physical form. But on the other hand, I don't want to miss out on Will Wheaton reading me this story, so I'm not sure how this is going to go. I'll have to let you know.
Okay, well, I can say that I ordered the physical book. It's going to be here in 2 days. But now that you said that, I think the physical book is just going to be pretty on my shelf. And I think I'm going to listen to the audio. I think I'm going to buy it twice. I don't mind. I don't listen to a lot of audiobooks, but after reading Ready Player One, I had to listen to an audio book as well. And Will Wheaton did a great job with that.
He did, and especially I laughed so hard at the part where he was actually reading in the story about himself. That was just it was a great moment.
It's great. And it happens early on too, like first few pages, I think. So it's fun. Doesn't it? I think it does.
Yeah. And Will Wheaton actually reads several of John Scalzi's books. So if this goes well for you, know that there are more by the same author with the same narrator.
That's exciting. I know we haven't heard about the book yet, but while we're commenting about things that are already great about it, this is the book I'm most looking forward to that you've recommended, actually only because of the cover art.
Yeah. So as you can see, the cover art here. So the thing about this book in particular and why my friend kind of recommended it to me is we're both comic book readers. He actually helped start me back into comic books as an adult when we first became friends. And this book specifically, the premise, I guess, at least from the cover, is that the main protagonist, I think it's their uncle passed away, and they've now inherited everything from their uncle. And their uncle happens to be a supervillain. And like he's getting like the supervillain base, and there's this cat, and it kind of reminds me of actually a bunch of other stories like the original Wanted comic. Not the movie, the comic book. There's very different things. So the original Wanted comic was this like edgelord, like trying to be as dark and gritty as it possibly could try to be. It was just this weird comic. Like the main character was literally made to look like Eminem. And this was like 2000.
Also sounds great.
It was like 2008 or so, but like the actual movie that came out later went in a very different direction. It mostly just kept the proper nouns and just was a very different story. So after Wanted, the Wanted comic book, you also started getting like The Boys and the Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. All of those kind of dark, like the world is populated by dark heroes, or supervillains. Rather than the superheroes, those stories started to come out. So I don't know if really Wanted was the first, but it was at least the first for me. And so this book kind of gives me a lot of nostalgia for that point of time when I was reading those stories.
Well, that all sounds super exciting because I enjoyed The Boys. I don't know much about the rest of it, but either way, just super stoked for this book. Again, if all I am relying on is Will Wheaton's narrating, there's a cat villain on the cover. Like, so far, I am sold.
I am too. I'm actually really excited about this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and that's going to be a good offset for the depressing book that you chose.
Probably. I have a good feeling about the author because he has really great reviews. I didn't find any weird stuff out there on the internet, although I profess I didn't look that deeply. But as long as this is a good like whodunit and I don't figure it out and it's like entertaining, I'm cool. But I don't know. Now my book just looks like a dud next to yours.
Well, I guess let's rip that Band-Aid off and we'll read that one first.
All right, yeah, let's do that. Join us at home. We always put the links for the books below. Join us in our Discord and follow along with us, and make sure to follow us on those socials. But as always, like, subscribe. We will see you next time. Rob, thank you so much for being the bestest co-host ever.
Thank you for inviting me.